All right, y'all, thank you for coming again for another briefing. Let's start off with Chaplain Greg Brown.
Psalm 121 reminds us of God's continual help. The psalmist declares, "The Lord will watch over your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forevermore." Let us pray. O God, your mercy endures forever. We thank you for the ways you have shown us your loving kindness in these recent days. For first responders, relief workers, electric utility workers, our soldiers and airmen, we give thanks. Continue to guide our recovery efforts and keep those working in dangerous conditions safe. Continue to grant your wisdom to those in leadership, peace to those who are displaced, and your consolation to those who grieve. As you have promised, continue to watch over us, walk with us, and hear our prayers as we lift them up to you. Amen.
Thank you. Holly May is signing. Thank you very much. Briefly, we're glad to report for the second day in a row we have no new hurricane-related or storm-related deaths to report. That is good news. Outages right now are 51,446. I remind you, this is down out of 3 million customers, boxes that is. We had 1.3 million of them out, and now we're down to 51,446. Number of troops out there helping, assisting, are still at above 1,000. The rivers are diminishing now. They're in the low countries where and somewhat in the Midlands where they're still high, but they'll be going down. And we are, of course, grieve along and condolences to those who have lost those loved ones and neighbors. And we hope that that number does not get any larger. We're making progress in adding additional counties to FEMA's individual and public assistance programs. Since Saturday, we've added Allendale, McCormick, Hampton, York, Jasper, and the tribal members of the Catawba Indian Nation to the individual and public assistance lists. So here are the complete listings as of today. Excuse me, for individual assistance, there are 23 counties, individual assistance. And of course, you know how to apply for that. They are Abbeville, Aiken, Allendale, Anderson, Bamberg, Barnwell, Cherokee, Edgefield, Greenville, Greenwood, Hampton, Jasper, Lawrence, Lexington, McCormick, Newberry, Oconee, Pickens, Richland, Saluna, Spartanburg, Union, and York, and the Catawba Indian Nation. That's individual assistance. That's 23 counties. There are 23 for public assistance. That's government to government. 29. They are Abbeville, Aiken, Allendale, Anderson, Bamberg, Barnwell, Calhoun, Cherokee, Chester, Colleton, Edgefield, Fairfield, Greenville, Greenwood, Hampton, Jasper, Lawrence, Lexington, McCormick, Newberry, Oconee, Orangeburg, Pickens, Richland, Saluda, Spartanburg, Union, Williamsburg, York, and the Catawba Indian Nation. Our state and local partners are actively conducting damage assessments across the state and are still working to add additional counties. And I need to point out, we have FEMA people working with us. Of course, our National Guard is all over the place, as well as the State Guard. But remember, it will be the contractors as well as the National Guard and the power companies themselves that you will see moving things around with trucks and tractors and those chainsaws, those sorts of things. What FEMA does is essentially act as a bank, providing assessments and providing funds for things to be done and attempting to reimburse those people in those counties through these and other programs. In addition, on Friday, FEMA granted my request for public assistance to be funded at the 100% federal share for 90 days from the beginning of the storm. That's good. Ordinarily, it is 75% federal, 25% state. But for those 90 days, they will provide 100% funding for those 90 days, then it will drop back to the 75. To further assist our recovery efforts, Team South Carolina County Days are being held. They will start this week. Team South Carolina County Days, you've heard that phrase before, will bring state and federal agencies together to provide local residents and businesses affected by the storm a one-stop shop opportunity to learn and apply for relief sources available. They will take place as follows. October 9 at Clemson's Little John Coliseum. October 10 at USC Upstate Health Education Complex. On October 11th at Greenville Tech Student Success Center. Then in the week of, for those, that will be the 9th, 10th, and 11th. Then starting on the 14th, the week of the 14th, and the week of the 21st, there will be additional places, and they will be announced at different times. You'll need to check to see where they're going to be, but they'll be during those 2 weeks. They'll be at Union, Newberry, and Lawrence counties, and then at Greenwood, McCormick, and Abbeville counties, then at Barnwell, Bamberg, and Allendale counties, then at Aiken, Saluda, and Edgefield counties, and then at Richland and Lexington counties. And Department Administration Director Marcia Adams, who is here today, will provide information on that. I urge everyone again to be careful about scams. There are a lot of people that go out and take advantage of people in times like these. And as Mr. Howard has told us, no one from FEMA will ever come to your door and ask you for money for the hurricane relief. And you need to be very careful when people approach you. And also, if there's any evidence that chainsaws or any sort of product or service being offered at a very high price to someone who's in dire need, as they will be now, that is called price gouging. And you can call the State Law Enforcement Division, your law enforcement officers there, or the Attorney General's office for that. Finally, Hurricane Milton is up at Category 5, which is fast and big. We don't know where it's going to go. They're predicting now that it likely will not come here, but we know that those predictions often are not accurate. We have seen many times when they've been predicted to come in our direction and didn't, and when they've been predicted to go somewhere else and did come in our direction. So we'll be keeping you up to date on that, but in the meantime, we are still concentrating on the damage and the needs of our people under the present circumstances, but we are mindful that we may have to remobilize or stay mobilized in the event of this other hurricane. So we'll have questions at the end, and I will now call on John Quagliarello of the National Weather Service for his report.
Thank you, Governor. John Quagliarello with the National Weather Service. Like the Governor had mentioned, although we're still working to recover from Helene, we need to look forward also to any potential threats from Hurricane Milton. Milton rapidly intensified this morning and is now a powerful Category 5 hurricane. Wind speeds are up to 175 miles per hour, and it's located just west of the Yucatan Peninsula in the Gulf of Mexico. Although fluctuations in intensity are expected, Milton is forecast to remain an extremely dangerous hurricane through landfall along the west coast of Florida sometime late Wednesday. As Milton moves across the Florida Peninsula and reemerges into the Atlantic Ocean, it will become a very large hurricane, with its wind fields expanding significantly. While the forecast appears to keep the center of Milton well south and east of South Carolina, please be aware that its impacts will extend several hundred miles from its center. So again, it's not necessarily coming to South Carolina, but its impacts certainly will extend into the state. As for those impacts, there will likely be a prolonged period of gusty northeast winds, possibly to tropical storm strength, along the coastal plain and in southern portions of the state, potentially knocking down some trees and power lines. These prolonged northeast winds will cause tide levels to increase beginning Wednesday, where minor coastal flooding is possible across central and southern portions of the coast. On Thursday, major coastal flooding is possible in Charleston and other portions of the central and southern South Carolina coast with the afternoon high tide. The coastal flooding threat will continue to increase through Thursday evening, and tide levels may once again peak in the major flood category Thursday night. Lesser impacts are expected farther north into the Grand Strand. Rainfall will be highly track dependent, but several inches of rain could lead to localized flash flooding across southern portions of the state, even inland from the coast. This should have minimal impact on area rivers, which are now all below major flood stage and continue to fall. We urge residents and visitors to continue to monitor trusted sources for the latest forecast on Hurricane Milton. You can get the latest forecast and preparedness information from the National Hurricane Center at hurricanes.gov. Thank you, Governor.
Thanks, sir. Director Andrew Bateman, Office of Regulatory Staff.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. Andrew Bateman, the South Carolina Office of Regulatory Staff. Currently, as Governor McMaster mentioned, the state is at 51,446 outages. The top 3 counties remain Greenville at 11,067, Spartanburg at 9,316, and Aiken at 7,758. We continue to be in close communication with utilities, and as both the Governor and John mentioned, are keeping a close eye on Hurricane Milton. I've talked with utilities beginning late last week, and they are already strategically staging assets in anticipation of any impacts from Hurricane Milton. Thank you, Mr. Governor.
Thanks, sir. Kim Stinson, Emergency Management Division.
Thank you, sir. Based on the current condition, as we clean up from Hurricane Helene, the State Emergency Operations Center has moved to operating condition 2, which is an enhanced level of operations just below operating condition 1, which is our highest level of readiness. However, we are prepared to return to OPCON 1 in response to Hurricane Milton if that becomes necessary. Currently, the top State Emergency Operations Center priorities are completing clearing roadways, completing power registration, shelter operations, food and water distribution, and very importantly, transition to recovery. EMD continues to have several of our regional personnel deployed to assist local authorities, and we also coordinate very closely with the county emergency management officials. Currently, right now, there are 13 county emergency management centers that are operational, but there's 33 counties here in South Carolina that are at steady state operations. The county operational focus is similar to us in terms of road clearing, power restoration, sheltering, food and water distribution, and transition to the recovery piece. We've got some updated damage assessment information, and this is not the final count, but it's what we got right now. Is on the residential side, we have 29 counties reporting over 5,200 damaged homes, of which over 300 are destroyed and over 1,700 with major damage. The counties with the highest number of damaged homes are Aiken with over 1,300, Spartanburg with 700, and Greenville with over 700. 16 counties are reporting over 160 businesses with some level of damage. And then the public assistance costs, that's the debris, infrastructure damage, and emergency protective measure costs, are being reported by 38 counties for a total of over $250 million. County governments are open today in all counties in South Carolina except one, and that's McCormick County. In the logistics area, we have actioned over 1,000 logistics requests, of which 700 have been closed out, with the remaining in progress. The most requests are for water, shelf-stable meals, fuel, and point of distribution support. Currently today, there are 6 points of distribution to issue food and water, primarily in the upstate. However, we expect those to close later this week. So far, we have distributed over 800,000 meals, 1.3 million liters of bottled water, and over 3,500 tarps. Under the Emergency Management Assistance Compact, we have received resources from several states, including Colorado, Delaware, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Mississippi, and New York. And that assistance has been ranging from anywhere from search and rescue teams to emergency operations support. The governor's already gone over the federal assistance on the individual assistance side, and that's to assist individuals and families from recovering from this storm. And he's also covered the public assistance, which again is reimbursements for debris, emergency protective measures, and repair or replacement of government facilities. And last item is we are coordinating with FEMA and the counties for opening disaster recovery centers for citizens to get questions answered and to register for federal assistance. Sir, thank you.
Thank you, General Van McCarty, National Guard.
Thank you, Governor. We still have over 1,100 soldiers and airmen in the South Carolina National Guard, to include members of our State Guard on duty. As we had briefed earlier, we had an EMAC through the Emergency Management Assistance Compact, where we brought in airmen from the state of Mississippi, airmen from Florida, and soldiers from New York and Michigan. The airmen from Florida were recalled to go back in support of Hurricane Milton. They left yesterday. The New York Guard will be leaving today, but they have been remissioned to go to North Carolina. The Mississippi Guard will be leaving back tomorrow. The Michigan Guard was en route to South Carolina, but had been remissioned to go to North Carolina. We're in the process of supporting an EMAC request from Florida to send down approximately 70 soldiers and 30 high water vehicles to assist them in evacuation processes. We're in the process of restructuring our force. As the mission demand has gone down, we'll be bringing our soldiers and airmen off duty. Many of these soldiers and airmen came from the affected counties, so it's important that we get them back to their homes. Many of them, though, need to go back to their jobs. We are preparing, though, to be able to support the state in preparation for Hurricane Milton and stand ready to support the state in any other regards. Thank you.
Thank you, General. Secretary Justin Powell, Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Governor. In spite of the damage that nature has been inflicted upon us, SCDOT crews continue to be blessed in getting the job done, being safe, and working with the partnerships we've made with utilities and local governments. SCDOT has shifted its focus from responding to Hurricane Helene to recovering from Hurricane Helene. On Friday, SCDOT completed cut and toss operations on all state highways outside of a few remaining power line entanglements. At present, we have 72 roads closed across the state right now. These are due to damages from the storm and not trees in the roadway. Many of the repairs are small, like shoulder washouts or drainage repairs. We are assessing damages and quickly mobilizing either our own forces or contractors to make the repairs. There are larger repairs, however. The contractor is already under contract to repair US 76 at Caesars Head in Greenville County. This action was funded by $2 million in quick release Federal Highway Administration emergency relief funds. I've been in touch regularly with Acting Federal Highway Administrator Kristen White, and she is committed to assisting us through the recovery. We have identified 4 bridges that will require replacement as a result of the storm, and we're working to get those under contract as quickly as possible. These are US 76 over the Chaga River in Oconee County, West Washington Street and South Hudson Street in Greenville County, and North Burris Road in York County. The other major issue out there is the debris on the side of the roadway. Debris crews from both SCDOT and contractors are mobilizing now. These crews will first focus their attention on our interstates and our primary routes. As they progress, they will then turn attention to our secondary roads and neighborhood streets owned by SCDOT. In 16 counties west of a line from Gaffney to Barnwell, you will see contractor debris crews on the road. SCDOT asks community members in the impacted areas to pile debris on the side of the road safely out of the roadway. We ask that debris be placed away from fire hydrants and mailboxes. Separating debris between vegetative and other debris will help us expedite the process of cleaning up our roadways. More information on debris cleanup, including instructions on debris separation, are found on SCDOT's website at scdot.org. Our crews have been working since before the storm made landfall, and we will not stop until every South Carolinian is back to normal. What nature does in a few hours takes time and money to repair and replace. I want to assure you that we are in this together, and we'll be working alongside the public as we get back to normal. Thank you, Governor.
Thanks, sir. Brett Howard, FEMA.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Governor. I'm Brad Howard, Federal Coordinating Officer with FEMA. We continue to work side by side with Team South Carolina, the local emergency managements, to assist the state and the disaster survivors in their greatest time of need. We have fulfilled the request for commodities and stuff to help the state get out to help the response piece, and now we're really starting to focus with the state and a very much state-led recovery. I was pleased to announce, and the governor announced, that the Catawba Indian Tribe, Jasper, and York counties were designated the other night, which was a quick turnaround due to the fast work and the great work that was done by the state to gather those damages. I want to remind everyone the quickest way to apply for FEMA assistance is disasterassistance.gov, or you can call the 1-800-621-3362 number, or the FEMA app on your phone. I do recommend disasterassistance.gov. It is the absolute fastest way to get assistance, and this is assistance for homeowners, for renters, to help with rental, temporary repair your home, and things like that. Right now we have approved over $57 million. So thank you, media outlets that are supporting this and helping us get the word out. It is getting out. We're seeing uptick in registrations. We're getting funded, getting money out on the street. I have disaster survivor assistance teams on the ground right now working in the pod locations and anywhere that the state has designated that they need FEMA, the FEMA force out there to help registrations. As of this morning, I have 217 staff on ground. We continue to bring in more as the requirements have an uptick in recovery to make sure that we are right-sized, that we have everything and everyone on board to help the state in recovery. And in closing, I want to make sure I get this 2 points left. First point is, if you register for FEMA assistance and you get a denial letter, I want to address it right now. Do not accept the denial letter for the end-all be-all. That is not necessarily the end of your recovery. Read the letter very carefully. Don't throw it in the garbage and think you have no recourse. Read the letter. It could be something as simple as you left off the last digit of your Social Security number. Your zip code's missing. It could be something very simple. And so we need information. If you have a question, pick the phone up, call that number, 1-800-621-3362. Call us. We will work with you through this situation. It could be something, it could be a documentation that we need or anything like that. So please call us. Don't accept that no. Read, find out what it is, and then call and we'll help you. The second point I wanted to make, everywhere you see a FEMA shirt in South Carolina, the locals know we're coming. The state has sent us there. We are not out and about anywhere that's not coordinated with these agencies and the counties. We don't freelance. They know we're coming. They know where we're supposed to be, and we are achieving the mission we were sent there to do. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understand that, especially when the governor raised the point about fraud and things like that. If somebody approaches you, if they don't have a FEMA badge on, and they're not us. We don't ask for money. We don't ask for resources. We are there to help. We bring you the money and the resources. So thank you, Governor.
One more time, that number 1-800 what?
621-3362 or 1-800-621-FEMA.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, Marcia Adams, Department of Administration.
Yes, sir, Governor. Good afternoon. As the governor announced today, Team South Carolina County Days will begin this week. It is designed to be a one-stop shop where state and federal partners and nonprofits come together to offer citizens disaster relief assistance. During these events, officials from FEMA will be taking applications for individual assistance. Officials from the Small Business Administration will provide information about disaster loans for businesses affected by Tropical Storm Helene. Officials from the South Carolina Office of Resilience will provide case managers to assist citizens with applying for disaster relief, and we'll have many other state agencies there that will be offering an array of services and information such as mental health assistance, safety and health information and services, environmental services, and information and services for seniors, veterans, and children, and information concerning insurance and unemployment benefits. In addition, representatives from several nonprofits will be present to lend assistance with relief needs. Again, as the governor announced, this week's locations will be in the upstate, Wednesday, October 9th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in Clemson Littlejohn, serving Pickens, Anderson, and Oconee counties. Thursday, October 10th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in USC Upstate and serving Spartanburg and Cherokee counties. And Friday, October 10th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Greenville Tech, serving Greenville County. Again, additional Team South Carolina days will be scheduled for the weeks of October 14th and October 21st for other impacted counties. EMD, the South Carolina Office of Resilience, and the Department of Administration are coordinating those locations and times, and they will be announced just as soon as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ben Duncan, Office of Resilience.
Thank you, Governor. Ben Duncan, Chief Resilience Officer. The Office of Resilience is partnering with the 1SC Fund. The 1SC Fund is now accepting monetary donations, and they grant donations to community organizations to assist in the relief and long-term recovery efforts. In prior events, the 1SC Fund has distributed over $10 million, assisting more than 2,300 individuals with their recovery efforts. Donations can be made at 1scfund.org. Again, that's 1scfund.org. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. Mike Leach, Department of Social Services.
Thank you, Governor. Mike Leach, Department of Social Services. South Carolina currently has 8 shelters open. 7 are general population shelters and 1 medical needs shelter. 98 individuals are in the general population shelter, and 5 individuals are in the medical needs shelter. Our team has begun identifying specific needs for our remaining clients to work through toward long-term solutions. Our highest amount of shelters in one day during this event was 18 total shelters, 11 general pop, and 7 medical needs shelter, and we had a total of 413 individuals at that point in time. Feeding operations continue through local organizations, faith-based organizations, and volunteer organizations like Operation Barbecue Relief, South Carolina Baptist Disaster Relief, and Salvation Army. Sites are in Aiken, Cherokee, Edgefield, Greenville, Greenwood, Lawrence, Newberry, Saluda, and Spartanburg. And Red Cross has a total of 58 routes or fixed feeding sites scheduled to receive meals today. SNAP mass replacement. Today, DSS requested a federal waiver for 29 counties that have met the threshold. This is for current SNAP beneficiaries. This will provide benefits to approximately 168,140 cases, or 356,873 individuals, and we are asking for 100% replacement, and we hope to get an answer from the USDA as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Ed Simmer, Department of Public Health.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Ed Simmer, Department of Public Health. We continue to make good progress with our medical facilities. We only have 2 left that are on generator power, and we're hoping to have both of them back to regular power this week, so our medical facilities are largely functioning normally. We continue to focus on medical needs across the state. For those who need oxygen bottles, we continue to have oxygen bottles available through our county partners. So if you are in need of oxygen, please visit our website at dph.sc.gov, and you'll find a list of counties there that have the oxygen available and how you can reach that. In addition, you may have heard that there is a factory in North Carolina that makes IV fluids that was just heavily damaged during the storm. We are working very closely with our healthcare facilities across the state to make sure we have sufficient IV fluids so that people can receive the medical care that they need. We're working with them to conserve supplies and make sure that while the federal government works with that factory to try to get manufacturing back online, no one is denied medical care because we don't have the supplies that we need. And finally, let me just note for people, as we move into recovery, this will still have changed people's lives. And this can be very stressful, and sometimes that stress can become overwhelming. So we've worked with our other state agency partners and the federal government to set up essentially a hurricane stress phone line, that if you're just starting to feel overwhelmed and need someone to talk to, this line is available. If you have questions about how to relieve stress, this line can help you with that too. So let me give you that number. It's 1-800-985-5990. Again, 1-800-589-5990. You can also use that with both voice and with chat, so that you can reach out and find someone to talk to if you need to. With that, Governor?
Say that number one more time.
Yes, sir. 1-800-589-5990.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Governor, if we maxed out the number of counties that could get federal assistance,
No.
where are assessments taking place?
Who wants to answer that?
We're looking at several counties right now, at least 4. We've got, let's see. I guess I don't have them on my list, but we're looking at, I know Chester is one of them, Beaufort possibly, and there's 2 others, but I don't seem to have, oh, wait a minute, Chester, Colleton, Fairfield, and Orangeburg, and then possibly Beaufort.
Next question.
This is for a FEMA question. And just in case somebody does get a denial letter and in fact they are denied, where do you point them for the next step?
Call us back if they don't understand why. Get back on the phone, 1-800-621-FEMA. We're in the process of working with the state to set up disaster recovery centers, in which we will have FEMA staff. There'll be state agencies there too, that they can come in and sit down and work with us and work through it. And the state will be, at some point, I don't want to speak for where and when, but at some point here in the near future, those centers will start opening, and we'll be able to point people there if you have questions or need help with your registration. All right.
Question?
Governor, can I say something real quick?
Yes, sir.
The last time I gave you the phone number, I transposed 2 numbers, so I apologize.
know.
So let me give you the right number. So the number is 1-800-985-5990. Again, 800-985-5990. Thank you, sir.
You actually transposed it twice. Now you repost.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Governor, for those who may need assistance, the Office of Resilience will have disaster case managers at these DRCs, at the disaster sites, to assist them. If they've been denied, we will help them appeal. If they need other assistance, we'll be there to assist them also.
Any more questions? Yes, sir.
Governor, Senator Graham on Thursday was in Aiken talking about the federal disaster package. He was putting out the number $150 billion. Do you have any sense at this point what the state might need in terms of recovery when this is all over, or are we still assessing that?
We're still assessing, but it's going to be a big number. We know that. Question?
Oh, go ahead, Governor. Secretary Powell, I know this is the next thing folks are going to start to get a little antsy about, but with the debris removal, do y'all have any estimate at this point of how much debris there is to be picked up, and then an estimate on how long it might be sitting in front of folks' homes before it's all picked up?
Sure. So, based on the decision to activate the debris contractors was based on our visual assessment of the amount of debris we have on the roads. We're working with the Army Corps of Engineers to get a more precise estimate, but we didn't want to wait. And so we started getting folks out there. I would say it's going to be a number of weeks before that debris has been removed, and it'll be really based on the pace. I think we're incentivized, based, as the governor said earlier, that we have that 90-day window from FEMA. So I want to make sure that we're completed really before that 90-day period to protect the state's taxpayers' dollars.
Question? Yes.
Will the state be sending any resources to the western part of North Carolina that currently need help?
To the western part of North Carolina? Yes, ma'am. When we finish what we're doing here and anything we have available, we will send if we don't need it here. But our first obligation is to our state.
Governor, we currently have
Come on.
We currently have 5 helicopters that were EMAC to North Carolina earlier in the operation. Many of those in coordination with the State Fire Marshal Office did search and recovery, search and rescue, and were very successful in that with our forces there. But we also have our heavier lift helicopters, the CH-47 Chinooks, and they were running almost continuous missions into North Carolina carrying water and food. Now that has somewhat ceased, but we will continue to assess what we have the capacity to support in North Carolina and do what we can to serve their needs. Yes.
Question for Director Bateman.
Yes, sir.
You spoke about pre-positioning for Hurricane Milton. Where are electric crews pre-positioning? Are they moving towards Georgia and Florida?
So the pre-positioning in South Carolina is in the Low Country, Charleston to Beaufort area. There are a limited number of crews that were from Florida, not in Dominion restoration, but in the Duke restoration and the Co-op restoration, that are actually going to be recalled back to Florida. I've had a number of conversations with Duke personnel and Co-op personnel, and they don't anticipate that to impact the restoration efforts.
Another question?
Yes. Can I add to the question about Western Carolina? Team South Carolina is helping out with our North Carolina neighbors with our search and rescue teams. Now that search and rescue missions have been completed in South Carolina Task Force 1 and pieces of our incident management team are currently in Western Carolina helping out. We still have our regional teams here as we watch Hurricane Milton and can quickly regroup and respond to South Carolina's needs, but for now we are in Western Carolina.
If you've been watching it, there's a lot of help going on around the country. People that don't need their particular forces will send them somewhere else, and if it turns out they need them, they bring them back, and we all reciprocate, and it works very well.
2 more questions if there are any. Governor, you mentioned McCormick County is still completely, the county government is still closed. Does that apply to state offices as well in that county? And do you have a sense of when they might reopen?
It does not apply to state offices. Who wants to answer that? Kim?
No idea really when McCormick, they're pretty hard hit, but I would expect that sometime this week that they would open back up.
Director Stinson, if you stay up, you said 4 counties are currently being assessed. Is that going to be for individual assistance or public assistance?
It'll be both for debris and emergency protective measures under public assistance.
What about it? And also individual assistance as well?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
That's the primary focus right now is making sure that people get the assistance that they need.
More questions? Thank you very much.